Hey, what's up, man?
Young man, how are you?
Okay, don't start that. Don't mess up my thing.
It's a Townsend affair.
Oh my God. Maybe I shouldn't invite you onto my show.
Too late, and all our family's watching, so you have to be nice to me tonight.
I was thinking about that. I was I was actually aware. I was like, what if he comes on here and just shows his complete self that I'm not gonna
No.
finish it. But yeah, you know, just be the older brother that I like, not the one that has annoyed me for, most of my life.
I don't know what to say. I only know to be one way.
Okay. All right. Well, you on this platform, and my supporters are going to be watching you, and hopefully you gain some more supporters from this. So this is definitely going to be a big event, I hope, and what it can do for the future. So, but yeah, I know you busy because for everything that you got going on. Thank you for taking time out. But we're going to go ahead and get started, get this thing rolling. So, welcome to Persistent Progress, everybody that is watching, that will be watching. I have a special guest today, my older brother. Can't call him bigger brother because I am the biggest brother, but definitely my older brother, a role model, man. I love him dearly. I brought him on the show for a special case, but I won't get into that just yet. Just want to set a reminder that with my company, Persistent Progress, that the purpose of this is creating a positive foundation. Function down on one thing for striving to constantly get better. So that's the kind of the model that we have is consistently striving to become better in any way possible, and just keep that whole mentality of day by day. If it's something that you can do, it don't have to be major big steps. But as long as there's steps in that right direction, even when you're taking steps back, you're able to learn to be able to grow and keep moving steps forward. So that's kind of just the foundation that Persistent Progress has put out there for the platform for people to join in and create a community for just positive fellowship and so forth, but also create different waves and movement as far as for networking and learning experiences people are able to pass on to one another. And that is the point of us doing this show, Persistent Progress Goes Career Exploring. Is basically to create avenues for people to kind of have a GPS. That is what we're using this for people to go some places to learn different things, and basically to kind of get a true understanding for what different jobs and stuff is out there, because sometimes you don't know where to look if you don't know what you're looking for. And so, if I want to learn how to be a lawyer or what I need to do, sometimes going to the library or doing research on Google just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't give you the satisfaction for what you need and know if there's something you're really interested in. But speaking to someone and them genuinely talking about it, what they went through, their the pros and cons of it, different things like that, kind of gives a more of a relationship, something that you can understand and relate to, if that's really something that fits your characteristic. And also with doing that, people are able to, well, at least in the past episodes, they're able to correspond with the people that I've already interviewed, and they're able to just one-on-one have conversations with if they do have any questions that I may not cover. So that's why we are live right now for people who are watching, that if they do have any questions that I might not have covered, or it's not part of my questions for the day with you, that they can chime in and feel free to ask. So, like I said, today my guest is William Townsend, my older brother. He's a father, he's a husband, he's an older brother, he's a preacher, he's a businessman. I can go on forever, but this is the time that I want you just to explain who you are, and kind of give people the help them understand why I brought you here.
Most definitely. Let me first say, I've known you all my life. You were my first best friend, right? I like to think a lot of stuff I taught you, whether voluntarily or involuntarily. But in all seriousness, I want to first thank you for your consistency with Persistent Progress, to watch you give birth to a movement that will not just benefit our current generation or our current culture, but it's something that can definitely live beyond myself, live beyond you, and live beyond our children. For our conversation always, how can we make our kids better than we are? So thank you for this movement. It is definitely effective, and I expect nothing but great things. I definitely believe you brought me on tonight because not just because I think if nobody else knows anything about me, you know everything about me. There's not one thing about me.
Everything, everything.
Ever. There's not one thing about you that you don't know about me. I like to compare myself to the bird that wanted to learn how to fly before its time. It was in the nest, and it was so used to the mama bird going to bring food back, and sometimes it was delayed. So sometimes it seemed as if he wasn't going to eat. So he made up in his mind that he was going to get out that nest and fly on his own. And in him doing that, because it was ahead of his time, it was a premature flight. He took a lot of falls. But it was that last flight that actually gave him the chance. And he learned from each fall how to really flap his wings and gain the air and the traction that he needed to be successful in his next flight. And so I'm that bird. I've taken a lot of hits, I've taken a lot of falls, some self-inflicted. And then there were others that were a part of the process. And as a result of that, I truly believe that it was so that I can be not just a better me for my wife, for my kids, but be a better me for people that I would encounter each and every day. People is my passion. I think it used to irritate you as a kid. I never met a stranger. I talk to everybody. That's just my personality. And I'm able to talk with those who we would consider to be the least of these, as well as those that we would consider to be kings and queens or people of high stature. And what I like about that is it allows me to take what I don't know and gain the information and take it back to those who may not get that same opportunity or that door, get to that door like I did, which is why I chose some of the career paths that I chose. And you lead it, but let me know where to stop. But as you stated, I'm definitely a businessman. I think I started more businesses in my life than anybody else I really pretty much know. Yes, I'm a pastor, an active pastor. That's been my lifelong dream since I was a little boy. I used to make our family, our aunts, sit in the kitchen and listen to me preach. You had to preach. You were part of the choir. You were my first deacon. And I knew then at that point in time that was something I definitely wanted to do. And then, of course, I have a corporate position in which I really enjoy. I started working at 15. I was a server, and this is it, serving people again. I don't know why, because I can never see myself doing that again. but it taught me a lot of discipline. It humbled me a lot. And then now I currently serve as a senior HR recruiter for Warner Brothers, which is now Warner Media. And that role alone it's just a testimony within itself. As I stated earlier, or alluded to earlier, I'm just like that bird, took a lot of falls. So my career path today is the evidence that my belief system hasn't failed me. Even times where I may have failed, my belief system hasn't failed. So I'll leave it there and then let you ask me a question.
Yeah, I got you. That was plenty, but right on target. So and just let everybody know that where are you from?
So I'm originally from Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta, GA. So
Atlanta,
yeah,
Georgia.
that's just for you the first person that I'm doing this interview with that is actually currently not in Indianapolis, but also like was born someplace else. Like some of the other people, they might have been born, different places, but they live here currently and so forth. But this, as far as that, now that I try to tell people that I've been so many different places that these people that I still got to interview, that the networking for that people can do to connect is going to be outside of the country,
Right.
East, West, in the US, all that. You know what I mean? So this is my purpose for expanding. So yes, Atlanta, Georgia, a successful man right there, black man that is doing big things and is young, So but yeah, so we're gonna go more into these questions, and I kind of want to find out. Excuse me if I say anything wrong about your position as far as you being a pastor and so forth, because I just don't know the technical lingo with it. So, but let's just get into it. As far as where did the whole becoming a pastor originate from? Because I know you started as doing it as a kid and singing and being part of the loving for church, but what put that idea in your mind frame to see you up there on that podium?
On the podium. So, it's crazy because growing up in church, I mean, our grandparents were heavy in the church. Our dad, he went to church, he just, that's our father, was heavy in the church, So, but man, like, even, you know, my family here in Atlanta, you know, my mother is really heavy in the church. So that's really what I knew. And bro, I served like literally in every capacity of the church, from, I mean, choir to usher board to, I mean, some of everything, the youth department president, but I still knew there was more to me than where I was serving. And as a result, I really had wanted a deeper knowledge and a deeper understanding, you know, to really express to people about the God that I served and the one I believed in, you know. And even in school, they used to call me bishop or preacher boy. You know, that was kind of cool. You know, I'm preacher
Yeah,
boy.
yeah.
You
You was the
feel me?
only one. You can't. Too many people can't get that nickname.
Too many people can't get that nickname, you know. And it was just, like I said, it was just a hunger. It was a calling. It was a calling in which I've tried to give my resignation plenty of times back to God. And every time I tried to get back to him, he told me no. For moments like this, and even in that, Dre, you know, so many times I've asked God, why me? You know, why, literally, why me? And he would reverse the question and say, why not you? You know, everything that I've had to grow through, I don't believe I go through anything. I grow through everything. Everything I grow through or you grow through is for a bigger mission. It's for a bigger purpose that's outside of us. One of my favorite scriptures, I'm just throw this in here, said, and they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the power of their testimony. And for a lot of us who may not be necessarily believers, you know, we all have some type of testimony. However we describe it, it's a story or a pericope or whatever. We all have a testimony, and somebody's survival is based off what we went through or what we grown through, whether it was through a divorce or through a bad breakup or a loss of a job. You remember when I relocated up there, you know, it was,
Yeah.
you know, all that was a part of the process, you know. So as a pastor, it was like I had a story to tell. That's what it was. I had a story to tell that I know plenty of people really needed to hear. They were depending on that story, you know. And every day I'm reminded when I stand in that podium, I stand behind that book board, and I see people come to Christ, or they want to be saved, or they want to be, you know, be fed more. Or even our Father, you know, our dad is who he is. Like he's just like that bird, you know what I'm saying? But the fact that how he even calls and say, I need a word for today. You know, it's an honor, you know, to be able to feed your own father, you know, somebody that
Right. Right.
that technically is he's your senior, you know, but he
Mm-hmm.
acknowledges, or that burden on the inside of you, that burning that's able to even to minister to your own people.
Right. 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 I feel that. So how do you go about becoming a pastor? Do you? I mean, it don't work. Do you just apply? Do you? I mean, if there's a church that needs a pastor, do you just put an application? Like, how does that work?
So definitely. So as crazy it is, it's twofold. Some people, you know, they have different phases
You
to the
did not
church.
find a pastor on Indeed, did you? Is that LinkedIn?
LinkedIn. No, but like a lot of churches, the business side of church is you know, church operates in two things. It operates as, you know, is a spiritual entity, but then it has its physical responsibilities as well. So whenever a
Mm-hmm.
church is they don't have a pastor, a lot of times they will put out a posting for a pastor. And those who are interested, you know, just like a regular interview, like what I do every day, interview people. They interview you, and if your passion or your experience match their vision or where they're looking to go, you definitely would be, you know, someone that they would definitely consider for that role. Now, on the other hand, you have individuals like me who may have planted a church, which means that we had a burning or a pull from God to start a work, you know, start a work. And in that instance, even in those times, I think in order to be successful, a pastor has to have a pastor, just like a firefighter has to have a chief or battalion. You get what I'm saying? Somebody has to hold you accountable in case you lose your mind. You
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
so in those instances, a lot of pastors, when you are submitted or you under a pastor, they will license or ordain you as a pastor, you know, and that's when you're doing it the right way. You get what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay. Yeah, because I wasn't for sure if there was like a certain group of people. There was like maybe just the ones who've been there the longest, or as part of the church, the committee board or something, and they
But
kind of
they do, they have a
okay.
board of they have a board of directors, just like the board of commissioners within the city, or, you know, whatever different entities, supervisors, like they have those board of directors, or they call it pastoral search committee. Within that
Mm-hmm.
consists of various people of all age groups and backgrounds who come together to make sure that this pastor ministers to not only people our grandparents' age, but people our children age as well.
So then, do they want a certain level of experience, like you work your way up or something as a resume? They're like, oh, I was a deacon at this church for so many years, and then
Yep.
now they do like they feel that you're ready to be a pastor.
Yep, they do all of that. So they do, some churches do require a certain level of education. They will ask for
Mm-hmm.
a master's of divinity or a doctorate or depending on that type of church setting. And then some churches,
Okay.
they'll say it just have pastoral experience or
Right.
a good pastoral experience and or have pastored or been an associate pastor before. And then sometimes if you go to these churches and say for instance you have the experience, but you may not have the education. Like for example, I've
Mm-hmm.
been to seminary, right? But I haven't been to a full. I don't have a degree in like a set degree. I have other things, but like just specific degrees they may look for that I may not have or whatever. A lot of times they will say, hey, we'll take you, and then we'll add part of your package. We'll send you to school,
Mm.
to make that you get this not just for the church, but to even help you. So it just
Right.
depends on.
Right.
It's like different benefits for each site. Your fire department or your municipality may offer something different than our municipality here in Georgia. It doesn't mean that they're
Mm.
one of them are wrong. That's just what they're looking for, what they're offering.
Right. Right. Okay, I understand. So, how long have you been preaching? Because I'm not going to ask how long you've been pastor. You can do both if you will, but I know that there's a difference between the two.
So a preacher is someone, and I'm glad I like making this known so people don't get it confused. A preacher's main responsibility is to preach the good news, which is Jesus. So I've been a preacher since I preached my first sermon at 12. My old pastor gave me a chance, but I wasn't licensed and ordained as a preacher. That's kind of like I think like as a police officer, you don't get your post. We call it post certification here. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't get my certification until, matter of fact, you were here that
I
Sunday after graduation.
thought that.
That's when I was licensed and ordained at the age of 18. So I really recognized 18 up until really 30 that I've actually been, you know, been a preacher. I've been a pastor, senior pastor now for 2 years. I've served as an associate pastor at two different churches. Two different churches. I've served as an assistant pastor. So yeah, so preacher for 12 years, pastor for the last two, associate pastor within those few years. So
And what's the difference in the kind of pastor that you were as being an assistant pastor to being a senior pastor? Are you like the
so
number one guy?
yeah, pretty much. So assistant pastor, the, so he reports to the senior pastor. The senior pastor is over entire operations. He's like the
Okay.
CEO. He
Go ahead, tell
everything.
them.
You know, top dog. Uh, Then the assistant pastor, of course, he reports to the senior pastor. So he's like the right-hand man to the pastor. So in the pastor's absence, the senior pastor is the one who he will, have take on those roles of responsibilities, or go see the sick or go, whatever he needs him to do. But he's most successful senior pastors are training their assistant pastors to be their successors. That's most of the
Okay.
time, or to
Okay.
help them become a pastor. Most assistant pastors at some point have desired to be a pastor, and some say, no, I'm good. I just like being man number two.
Right. 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 Okay. Okay. Um. So, what was it like when you first started preaching, being so young, right at 18? Most likely, you're the youngest guy in the pulpit, even if you travel to a different church. You know what I mean? I don't think not many were on the level that you were on mentally to have this type of goal. So, what was it like being 18 in a pulpit, talking about that you about to preach this sermon, and then do as well as you've been doing?
So I think for me, it was twofold. It was an awesome time, but it was a very it wasn't a good time. Let me tell you why I say that. It was an awesome experience, right? That's how life is. Life gives you awesome experiences, but like that bird, sometimes we do things prematurely. Our message doesn't match our lifestyle.
Mm,
You get what I'm saying? That's good. That's good. That's
I
good.
like that. You
And
you
so
might need to write that one down.
I'm going back to replays to watch this. And so while I preached about a good Jesus, my lifestyle didn't match it. I was still trying to be young, and I was doing some things that were pretty much contrary or going up against what I preached. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was trying to keep that secret while keeping my preaching public. You get what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And
No,
so
I
it was a
get you.
great experience. I mean, preaching is what I do. It's my gift. It's an art. I'm able to do it. I could preach to the most educated, and I could preach to the non-educated or minimum educated, and still get the message across. But I think it didn't become real good until my experiences, my valleys, and my lifestyle match what I preach.
I got you. So, do you know or have you met anyone that started as young as you? And like, if so, like, did they kind of say like their experiences were similar to the same, just as far as the journeys that y'all went on?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, uh, Atlanta, I'll say Atlanta, like Memphis, we're the Bible Belt. I think
Mm-hmm.
that Texas, we're like the Bible Belt. You know how like certain states or cities they're like in sports, all good athletes come from this particular city and that particular city. So a lot of preachers, specifically in my generation, my buddies, we all came up at the same time, or they were like, if one was in Florida, and we had the same experience, where we were young, we were hot and popping, we were like, we was the next thing. Like people knew
Yeah.
if we were coming to the city, church was about to be jumping and slamming,
Mm-hmm.
and preaching edifices and buildings that, like, our home church, St. Luke, that size, and sometimes 2-3 times that size. Of course, we
Y'all
would
was
get,
B2K of church.
you know, we were, man, like we were hot, and like I said, it was a good experience. But sometimes you can be exposed to something too soon, you know. And when you don't get, it's like giving Lil Dre the bike and say, go out. Lil Dre's not won yet, but take this bicycle, go outside and ride. He like, Uncle Will, just ride it. He's, even though I know he can do it, he's been exposed to it too soon, and his mobility is not, you know what I'm saying, it's not really
Mm-hmm.
understanding the significance or how important this particular this moment is. And so,
Right.
while we were the B2K, we were having some temptation moments.
Right. 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 Hey, yeah.
I want
So,
David Ruffin. I want David Ruffin. I want David Ruffin.
you sing a lot like him.
I'll sing before I get up in the night, though.
Oh God. So, what can you say you've noticed about yourself, far as how you preach now compared to when you first started? Like, where are you better at now, or what you do differently?
Me personally, it's funny you asked that. I just preached this past Sunday, and I think I watched it 2 or 3 times, and so I'm my biggest critic. I beat myself up. People say you did an amazing job, and I'm going back to the office like, you sucked. That was horrible.
Mhm. That's
Especially
kind of
if I feel like I have to be perfect. You get what I'm saying? Like if I mess up on a word or stutter, I'm beating myself up. Like how in the world did you mess this word up? Like it's a
hmm
simple word, specific. How did you say how did you mess it up? You know,
man. Ain't that the word?
man. And don't let me be mad, because if I start stuttering, I'm mad and I can't get my word out, I'm about to tear something up. But no, man, just having the chance to go back now, and just like my delivery, the way I deliver. Daddy used to always tell me, and I used to get mad at him because I'm like, dude, you're nothing. You're not a preacher. Don't tell me how to do my job. Just support me and go about your business. But Daddy used to tell me all the time. He used to say, Will, you ministering up here, which is cool for the people that understand up here, but you got to learn how to minister to the people down here that's
Mhm.
not up here yet. He used to tell me that all the time. And me and Daddy used to talk every Sunday morning before church. He always asked me what's the word, and he, this what you do, do this and this, and stuff like that. So, now when I look at it, those words that he stated to me, I see it now, to where when I'm ministering to the people that's up here, but I'm also ministering to the people that's right here, and the ministry to the people
Mhm.
down here. And also my passion for it has really increased. Like I love what I do.
Mhm.
I used to hate what
Yep.
I love reading. I love having 2 and 3 books next to me to find out exactly, where did this word come from and how did they translate it to here and what's the meaning of it in this version. So that when I do, I can talk to the hood member as well as the bougie member. I can get my
Mhm.
message across and everybody's fed at the same time. So my passion
You got
and
to.
definitely my ability to deliver.
Okay, okay. That's that means a lot because especially for somebody like me, you know, I wasn't big on the whole church thing. I
Yeah.
mean, growing up, I went to church because grandma got me Burger King. That's why, you know,
And
that was
McDonald's. It was McDonald's when we was running late. You got McDonald's when we was running late.
right, right, right. You know what I mean? So we was early though. Grandma would drive back the opposite direction. We grab Burger King and then we be on the way.
You
Um,
did. French
so
toast, 6 and cream.
do you have a pre-Sunday or a Sunday morning routine that you do to get ready to preach? Like something that you gotta do or is just not feeling right? Because you know, I'm big on routines as far as me playing sports and stuff like that. When I was in elementary, I slept in my football pants and socks and jersey before the game. So I pads in it and everything. You know what I mean? That's just
It's
that
weird.
that's what it was. So like what was yours? I know you got something.
So, I don't tell, this is my secret. A lot of people know about me, but before I preach, I listen to Tupac. I listen to Tupac. Blame My Daddy. That's the first rap song first rap I ever knew was Tupac. And what it does is, let me tell you what I do. People say they ain't making any sense. It really opens my mind to be transparent. It opens my mind to make, it really opens my mind. Not so much of it has an effect on what I preach, but it really opens my mind. It brings me back to reality. It keeps me relevant. But then in the morning when I'm getting ready for church or whatever the case is, or to preach wherever I'm at, I have a certain playlist that I play throughout the house. I get up early in the morning, so even if I get to church early, and I study. You know how we are. We got to keep going over the routine, going over
Yeah.
the messages to find errors before they come out before delivery. But yeah. So music is not only my outlet, but it's my motivation.
Mm-hmm. Which is for a lot of people before they doing anything. That's usually, I mean, it's just like we driving to work. Most people don't drive in silence, you know. But I definitely feel that, and I do want to take credit because when you used to sing all the time in the morning, especially before church, when you used to hear Tupac playing and stuff, I was trying to drown you out. Yeah, I'll take credit for that. Thank you.
That's
Anyway,
you.
moving
That's
on.
you. You
So
used to
how do
you
you
think
choose?
you were in chorus too though.
You said what?
You were in chorus at one point in time too.
Okay, now we're moving on. You need to be taught. We're trying to find out more about you, not me. Thank you.
Fun fact.
How do you choose what to talk about that day at church? Like, where do you get your topic from?
So I don't want to sound deep or spiritual, but
Mm-hmm.
it's really it's really where I'm led that Sunday. For example, this particular Sunday, I ministered at a church. They've been without a pastor for a while, and as you can imagine, that's like being without, I don't know, being without our dad or something. So
Mm-hmm.
it can be very discouraging if you never grew up with a father. It could be a lonely journey. And so I preached a message. I'm built for this. I'm built for this. And I talked about David because anybody that knows David, who doesn't know David, David is like you and I. Awesome man, but had mistakes. But after every mistake, he had a victory. And David said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou prepares table for me. I anoint my head with oil, cup running over. We went through the whole thing. And so in that, I wanted them to know that just like David had to go through a valley, we all have to go through a valley. But the thing about it is the valley is not a place of residency. It's a place of revival. That's why David said, yea, though I walk through the valley, because he knew my position here was only temporary. So don't send me mail here because it's
Mm-hmm.
like a truck stop. I'm just stopping here to get gas until I get to the other side. And I wanted them to be encouraged that while this may seem like a valley, it's still an opportunity not only for God to deliver on his promise, but there's a lesson for you in this moment. So I look for God in a way that it's not only, and I make sure every message I preach ministers to me. It ministers to me. So if it's a day where I'm discouraged as a father, as a husband, an employee, a business owner, to whatever capacity I'm serving in, my sermons always preach to me first. I never
Mm-hmm.
preach anything that doesn't hold me accountable, but at the same time doesn't encourage me, because my sermon should preach to me first. Preach to me first. It should.
I got you. Okay. So, your dreams and goals when you first started preaching, are they still the same today, or have they like altered slightly or a lot?
Mm, The only one dream that has altered is I want to be a pilot. that's
Mm,
that's the one dream, and it's still not too late. You know, we talk about it all
yeah,
the time. You know, I wanted to get some certain things in place so I can at least get my pilot license.
right,
But as far as pastoring, I do believe it was delayed for a while because again, I had to get in a certain place. You know, I truly believe that God does not bless us in an immature place because we are our own threat. We are a danger to our own self. You know, especially when we're immature. It's like me giving Seven a brand new 2020 Camaro and saying, "Here, this your birthday." Is like, for what? I don't what, you know, it's pretty, but it doesn't benefit her right now, you
right.
know. So, but my dreams of pastoring haven't changed. You know, I'll tell you, I've always wanted a church in Indianapolis. So I know one day I'm going to have me a church in Indianapolis, and you know, you're going to be the deacon. Um, my sister-in-law is going to be over my finances, you know, just different things like that. Um, Lil Dre's gonna be the drummer, or you know, he's gonna be over the athletic department or something. But that's neither here nor there. But no, my passion, my dreams for it, you know, they have really grown. I'm
Hmm.
still excited as I was when I was a little boy preaching in grandma's kitchen.
Okay, okay. So I just, and like I said, this is definitely a platform because I want to give you the utmost fame and glory and the biggest shout out that I ever can. You know, I don't, as proud as I am of you as being my older brother, it's just sometimes, you know, we're so busy that I don't give you enough like fame and glory that I feel that that you deserve. So I do want you to, you know, take time to explain to everybody too of what all types of ways do you have income currently coming in, like to understand like for your jobs. I want them to understand for how hard you work because you're not no pastor that's just only making money or you know Sundays where you go collect your check. That ain't how it works for with you. So
No.
take your time to break this down for them, please.
So most definitely. So um I'm glad, you know, I get my money the right way since you put me on blast. You know, I'm glad you know.
Yeah, you know, we
But no,
brothers though. So
we're brothers. We're happy, we're singing, and we're colored. No, but you know, as you stated, yes, I'm a pastor. That's who I am. That's my calling. But that is not my source of income. Like I stated earlier, I've been working since I was 15 years old. Um, I'm currently I work a 9 to 5, in which that is the sole income of my for me as a man and how I provide for my family. Outside of that, I run a funeral home alongside with the owners. So I'm one of the pastors on staff. Then I'm a contractor for another funeral home. So there's 2 funeral homes. People are literally okay. I'll say that. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. I don't want you to lose your audience tonight. But no, I work for 2 various funeral homes. I'm back running my transportation company, in which I serve. You know, I drive a lot of renowned, well-respected individuals, from pastors to athletes. Um, Man, I'm just I'm as a songwriter, I say I'm a hustler, baby. I just
yeah,
want,
yeah.
you know.
And you're 9 to 5. Can you elaborate more on that? Just you know that title and everything for what you do.
Yeah. So as I stated, I'm a senior recruiter, talent acquisition for in HR. I've been in that for a couple of years now. I made a transition from property management to HR, which has been a awesome move for me mentally as well. Fun fact: I started off in staffing, which is like a temp agency, where I hired, gosh, thousands of individuals, putting them back to work, and that's really another passion of mine is seeing individuals, men especially, fathers, husbands, mothers, wives who've been unemployed for some time, be put back to work and gain a stable income to take care of their family. So I did staffing, and then recently, last year, relocated to Indianapolis. My awesome sister-in-law and then my little brother allowed me to stay with them while I took on my new assignment at Adidas, where I did the same role. And within that short amount of time, I saw myself being very effective by putting a small group of people back to work. I have a motto for my career, Dre, that I use, and it's entitled. I say this in every interview I've ever done. My passion is turning people's passion into their profession. I believe your passion is where your mission is, and for a lot of us, we're so lost because the thing that's our passion is meant to be our destiny driver, but we ignore it because we everybody else is doing it. When you just may be that one person who we're waiting on to do it to change the whole game, you know. So I've been doing that, like I said, it for years now. And now I recently started with Warner Brothers, Warner Media, as a senior recruiter for talent acquisitions and putting individuals back to work. I make phone calls all day. You know, if you apply, I'm big on diversity. So I'm the door or the avenue to help put minorities specifically back to work, the Black men, even those that may have a federal charge, you know, whatever it may be. I have resources that put these individuals back to work, and not to minimum wage jobs, but jobs that actually can change the trajectory of their life. I never forget when I was working at Adidas, a guy, he had been with the company for a while, and I think he was only making like $8 an hour, had 4 kids and a wife, and the job because I watched him on the floor and offered him the job. He went from $8, I think it was $8.75 to be exact, $8.75. He went from $8.75 to $17 an hour. He broke down crying in my office and said, I said, "You okay?" He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "I finally can stop living in my car and get my family somewhere to stay." This guy had been staying in his car by himself while his wife and kids were staying with her sister because he just couldn't make it. You know, it was no, and as long as they had somewhere to stay, he was good. You know, so that's what I love about my job, is being able to take minorities and people that look like you and I and give them a chance. You know, a lot of these companies, you know, granted, our applications fall through the cracks. They fall. I say it all the time, if race doesn't matter, take it off the application. You know, however, that's just the time we live in. But you know, being able to do that is what excites me the most about my career, my 9 to 5.
I hear you. I hear you. So, with COVID going on, can you kind of explain how it's affected you and your opportunities that you've been having going for you, like both positively and negatively, if you have any?
Yeah. So negatively, as I stated earlier, when I took the job with Adidas, you remember we were excited. I was moving the whole family up there. We was about to buy Indianapolis up.
We still are.
We still are. It ain't too late. We not done until I buy the projects around the corner from Grandma. So you already know. But no, negatively, I was laid off. Remember, I was up there. They had sent us to work from home. Had brought Caden up there with me to work, and literally, I got that call after coming back home. Told me my assignment had ended, and that was heartbreaking. So you figure, I had made this relocation. The kids were prepared to come up there, and I had to go back home and tell them, like, literally, like, listen, you know, things have changed. And so, man, I was unemployed from April 10th, the day before my birthday, up until October. Of course, I was working.
How many kids you got?
I have 7 kids.
7 kids and a wife. And you was laid off from April 10th, the day before your birthday, until October?
To October 18th.
Okay.
To October 18th. And so, in being laid off, you know, while that didn't stop, you know, I applied for unemployment. Indianapolis unemployment, I hope they're watching, but they would not pay me. They delayed my case, and they gave me a lump sum, which gave me a chance to catch up on bills, you know. But even in that, the positive side was we never were set out, no cars, anything repossessed. My wife works, you know, but you know the way we were raised as men from our grandpa and stuff like that, you know, we have a responsibility to our family. You know, we take care of our household. You know, even our dad, like, that's
our job.
That's not your job. You know, our daddy would, you know, our daddy hustling. If he go buy a pressure washer in the wintertime.
You gonna work? Or you gonna go to school?
You gonna go to work or go to school? You know, so, but that was the downside about it, Dre. But the positive side about it was it gave me more time to really learn my kids. It gave me more time to really spend with my wife. You know, because you never realize, like, pre-COVID, we never realized how much time we were missing out on. We didn't realize that, you know. And so from a positive, it really came to a place to even learn me. I became very active within, like, the different civic, you know, all the racism that was going on during that time, and you know, all that social injustice. It gave me a chance to really start my organization, Preachers for the People, in that and lead marches of 300 pastors plus. Like it gave me a lot of time to tap into that side and just to, you know, perfect some personal goals that I had. And then back in October, you know, I'm back to work. You know, so the positive was, you know, I didn't lose anything. I almost lost my mind, but I actually got to travel more. You know, it was just, I mean, it was an amazing. It was like bittersweet. If I could, I'll say that.
I got you.
Yeah.
So the church that you're affiliated with, and also, by the way, what's the name of the church that you're a pastor for?
The church I'm a pastor of is called Overflow Church. It's in Fayetteville, Georgia, 165 Carnegie Place, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30214.
All right. So, the church that you're affiliated with, when COVID kind of shut everything down, were y'all going virtual, or how did that kind of transpire?
So that was a very hard time because if you remember, I was coming back home. I think came home like twice, right after I moved up there to preach. And then of course Charnice, she was preaching. So we literally started the April before COVID. So April of 2019. So we turned a year old and right during COVID. So it was very hard, you know, to go virtual. We didn't have all of the finances or the technology because we're a new church, you know, like a new business. We don't have all the, you know, the top of line camera systems and stuff like that to be able to, you know, compete or, you know, keep up with the status quo. So it was very hard. And so even during that time, I will say this, I took a time off as a pastor because I was depressed. I was hurting. I was mad at God, you know, because why would you have all this happen at a time when it seemed like you opened up so many doors for me? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, talk up, G, what's up? You know, don't get quiet now, you know? And so, but it was hard. It was hard. And so we took time off. And then I think it was in October, we relaunched again a pop-up service. And so recently, that's what we've been doing. I'm actually, without giving too much information, I'm actually working with a church right now that's currently looking for a pastor, you know? So, so we'll see what God does with that. There may be a joining of the two, you know, to make it bigger. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So with everything that you got going on and staying busy, are there some things that you do that you have higher expectations for than the other, or are you kind of like expecting at all of them they gonna go big, or some just like this gonna be my stepping stone for this other thing to pop off? You know what I mean? Because you list about 7 different incomes or job opportunities and ways to provide for your family, and so I'm just curious are some of them just you're doing for a short time being, or you testing it out? Like kind of how you go about you're prioritizing all these that you do.
Most definitely. So I heard this saying a long time ago. It said, "Don't quit your main hustle for your side hustle until your side hustle becomes your main hustle." My ultimate goal, you know, I don't like being told what to do.
Right.
You know? I think I got beatings as a child because I hate being told what to do. I am my own boss.
And you should tell me what to do, and they got me beatings with you. So
see, you knew then I was a boss, you know. Right. But my long-term goal is to really see my businesses, including my wife's business, because my wife is working on hers now. See those really be the sole income for our family. I want to create generational wealth. You know, we're not giving our kids anything. They can earn nothing. You can earn it, but I'm not giving you anything. And I'll give you a playing field to be successful, but I'm just not giving you anything. Well, for little Dre and my nieces, you know, they're gonna have, you know, that's different. That's
like my niece and nephew, they're gonna have everything,
you know. But I really believe my top passion, what I feel like, and I know I'm gonna really finish life doing, is gonna be pastoring. That is, and you know, and the thing about it is, it's not just so much from I'm not just a pulpit pastor. A pastor, this I meant to say earlier, a pastor is responsible for souls. A preacher is responsible for giving a word, you know. And because a pastor, I have a passion for people and their souls and their, you know, their livelihood and being better than who they are, you know. So even in my businesses, I'm a pastor because I'm serving people. I'm caring about people, you know. So my 9 to 5 is not gonna be my forever. My businesses are going to take care of property management. You know, that thing now is what we're working on. So those different avenues are what I'm looking to. But in everything I do, I expect myself to perform A1. Do it big or don't do it at all.
I got you. So what's your schedule like on a normal day? Is it the same kind of basically all week, or does it vary from day to day?
It changes from day to day. I mean, literally, because we work remote, so I work from home. So I have a lot of flexibility. My company understands my role and responsibility, so that's great.
Uh-huh.
Typically, my mornings start 6:30. I might hit the alarm button at 6:45. We get the kids ready for school. Of course, Charnice gets ready for work, and I'll take them to school, or she'll take them to school. 7 goes to daycare, and I'm back home working. And then just
Mm-hmm.
depending, I may have funerals that day as well. So I start working. I may have to do a funeral at 11, and then one at 1. So I'm getting dressed to go do those and come back and finish my work. While I'm doing work on the road. It just depends. I try to really relax on Sundays. I
Mm-hmm.
really try to relax. So in that instance, now it kind of changed. But before we kind of started going back to church, that was really my relaxed day. I would pre-record and just air it on Sunday so I could really relax and stuff like that. But I shut down my life literally at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, I don't do anything else. I'm
You
straight
you gonna,
family.
you gonna keep it on for today?
Oh yeah, for today.
Okay, just checking, because I got some
Yeah,
I got some heat for you. This gonna be a
I
Breakfast Club interview tonight.
all right.
Go get
But
your
yeah,
coffee
so
if you need to.
it's it's all about balance. Johnny's, bring me some orange juice if you watch it. It's all about balance. Yeah.
Yeah. So, was speaking about your schedule, do you actually like how busy you are and the way your schedule is, or do you wish it was you can kind of switch it up to something you like better about it?
I think I like being busy. It actually it keeps me somewhat sane. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when you're not busy, you're actually, and you tend to get in trouble. It's spending
Right.
money
Right.
or just no.
Mm-hmm.
I like being busy. Um, I feel like when I'm not busy, it kind of scares me because I don't feel like I'm being effective. But at the same time, my body will tell me when, like, okay, stop.
Yeah. Your body
So
always gonna let you know.
always, always let me know.
So is Georgia your final destination, where you want to reside at for with all your businesses, or do you kind of looking to expand and go someplace else? Because I know, like, we talk and everything, we will have real estate in Indianapolis as well as Georgia. But far as being a CEO and owning different things, sometimes you need to be closer to some businesses than others. Sometimes you can't
Yeah,
just be so far away that you flying. I mean, one day hopefully we do have that kind of money. We just hop on our jet
right.
and go. But just speaking as far as logically, is Georgia your final destination for where you want to reside?
No, Georgia is not at all. Um, so we've always talked, you and I, and even Charnice, like we either want to move to Texas, or we've even considered North Carolina. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be centralized so that I can get to where I'm going, where I need to get to. But no, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
limited to Georgia. I was ready to move last year.
Yeah, and I
I
was trying
was
to move
ready.
to Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. So we about to pass each other going up the highway. But no, that's I'm open to it, but no, definitely not. I just want to be centered, and I want to be, I want to be comfortable. I don't want there to
Mm-hmm.
be a lack or a need in me making that transition or that change.
Okay. So with the many of jobs that you do have, are there any that require certain certifications or degrees to get hired and like get to starting? Because like far as the senior HR and even being a pastor and stuff like that, you mentioned before earlier, but kind of specifying for each different one, if you could, please.
Yeah, so they do require some form of education. So if in fact you don't have the 4 year, they do have certain certifications that you would have to do. I'm trying to think of some now. I'm trying to think of some. There's a variety of them that they do require you to have, especially in HR.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you don't have them, a lot of companies, if you have the experience, again, they will sponsor you to get those certifications. So, for example, coming from staffing gave me a couple of different certifications for HR that actually helped me gain the jobs and stuff with senior HR positions that I gained in the years that I had in service. Just like with pastoring, if you don't have that specific, they go to word being messed up, right? That specific degree they require. For example, I went to seminary, so that kind of substitute for if they want a doctorate in theology and a master's of divinity. I have seminaries, you know, credits and stuff, so they do that for me. But for me personally, I do want to solidify and finalize. I want to be Dr. William McKinley Townsend IV. I do want to be that. I do want to have that. Yeah, before my name. I do. I feel like I owe that to myself as well as to my family.
I want DJ to become a doctor, so just I call him Dr. Dre. But
Yeah, I'm putting on his on his car tag. I'm paying for his tag, Dr. Dre.
So, going back to church a little bit, how does it work far as getting paid? Who all gets paid, and like, what's the difference? Like, how do they know how much money to put aside for the bills? Do they got a certain goal to reach on Sunday, or what?
Jackpot Yahtzee. So, as I stated, the church has a responsibility to minister spiritually, but also they have a responsibility to respond to the reality as well. So just like our corporate jobs and things like that have a budget, so does the church. We do have an operating budget for both accounts payable and accounts receivable. Of course, they don't notate it like that, but in reality, that's what it is: accounts payable and accounts receivable. Our debt to income ratio, what's coming in, what's going out. You know, so as a result, in that they do have, depending on the size of the congregation, they do have like a set budget as to what they can afford to pay that pastor, you know, what they can afford to pay that musician, or what they can afford to pay that praise and worship leader, or whatever the case is, you know. So it just depends. And in most instances, it is a 1099 role. It is a 1099 role, which means you are a contractor. So sometimes you have to file your own taxes, you know. And then for clergy, of course, we don't pay taxes. So.
Now, what's clergy?
Clergy, pastors, ministers, reverends whose sole income may be through a nonprofit such as the church. You file 1099. Well, we don't file taxes on that. It's like credited. I've never had the privilege to do it because I've never been salaried with the church. You know, I've never had. I've never been on salary with the church. I remember I started my church, so my church get paid because of me.
I got you. So what's the financial side look like for the jobs that you do? Do some of them you feel that it's more passion than finance, or vice versa? If that makes sense for what I'm asking.
Yeah, it makes sense. So at this point in my career, while I have passion, I believe my experience has allowed me, has earned the right to ask for what I ask for. I believe that I've earned that right to do so. But there have been instances where, for example, right before I was with Warner Brothers, Warner Media, I was with a company, and it was solely off passion because it was minority owned. I mean, it was black owned. When I say minority, black owned, husband and wife team. They were really just somebody to really look up to, you know. But of course, it came with, while I was doing it for passion, off passion, you know, my salary wasn't as much, but also it was the other stuff that kind of discouraged me to wish that I had asked for what I deserved, opposed to doing it just based on passion.
Right.
And I would say that even with pastoring, my passion is my assignment. So when I'm operating in my passion, God honors that, you know, because it's my assignment. And as a result, my reward from him is greater than what I feel is greater than what man could ever give me. So.
Okay. So what do you suggest a trait that someone needs to have about themselves to be as successful as you are so far in your career of life?
I think it's imperative. I ask this question every time I interview somebody. What is I'm sorry, my G baby's watching. She just said Granny, aka G baby. Hey G baby. Hey. I'm sit up for her. But no, I would suggest that anyone, I tell this to everyone that I interview, that's what I was stating earlier. You need to know your why. You need to know your why. Any interview I conduct, I ask them, are you looking for what's now? Are you looking for what's next? Because responding to what's now, you know, is definitely, you just wanted to respond to, I'm about to get set out. I need to get this baby some milk and some Pampers. And then in 3 weeks, I have to get my check, I'm gone. That's responding to what's now. But responding to what's next means I'm going to be here for a while. I can put myself on a career path, you know, that can really help me or kind of catapult me closer to where I want to be. You get what I'm saying? And be receptive for feedback. You know, I've interviewed you'd be surprised how many people I've interviewed that have master's degrees and years of experience, but they suck at interviewing. They literally suck at interviewing, or
That's
they
a
know
big
how
thing.
to, it is, or they know how to interview, but they have no resume prep whatsoever. When I was at Adidas, there were people that had been in their roles for like 10 years that should have been supervisors and been leads, but because they had no good interview skills or knew how to put together a good resume or how to articulate their experience and stuff like that, they were disqualified. And even when you put your resume together, the biggest selling point is you will want to say, I increased sales from 82% to 98% in a matter of 90 days. Because they're like, you know what? Not only does he know sales, but he knows how to watch numbers. He knows the forecasting, you know, to be able to do this job to get from here to there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. So this is going back to, I want to give you all the praise and fame that you deserve as well. Do you recognize how influential you are to the different communities and minorities? And if you do, tell me how that makes you feel for what you do, because you continuously keep doing this. It's not just a one-time thing that you do it on Sunday, you know.
Yeah. I didn't understand the magnitude of my influence until, Dre, I had a fall. And you remember the big fall I had back in 2018. I didn't realize how much my influence really meant, because while a lot of that was fluff, right? It was so many people that was hurt behind it. Not even because, you know, because what they heard, but it was so much because why, you know, it hurt their heart because of their belief or how they looked up to me. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
I
so
get it.
now, yeah, you get me. And so now, as a result, I'm cautious of, for example, even when it comes to my workplace, I'm cautious of what I post. I'm cautious of who I hang around. I'm cautious of where I go. Not because life stopped, but when you're carrying something and you are an influential person or you're somebody's role model, all it takes is a split second for that entire thing to be. People will forget all the good you've done for that one moment of a mistake, you know. And so whether it's my white counterparts or my black counterparts or my Hispanics, because there's a multitude of people that I'm very well connected to, I'm just very cautious now, and I protect my space, but most of all I protect my brand and my name.
Right. So, and this is going off to a different angle. Do you feel you're financially literate as far as making correct choices with your finances to make you as successful as possible?
I am now.
Yeah, no. So how did you learn? That's great, because that was going to be my next thing. How did you learn?
I got tired of asking my grandma for money. I got tired of sending her cash apps to Zelle. But no, man, I was, man, bro, I was tired of not having. You know, I've been very blessed. Our parents have raised us, you know, regardless of whatever proclivities our parents or challenges they may have faced, they've always provided us a good life. You know, we don't have this poverty story or anything like that. We don't have those stories. Now, we had some hard days, you know, where it may not have been all peaches and cream, may have been like applesauce and, you know,
and a whooping.
And a whooping. But, you know, so when the lifestyle I was subjecting myself to didn't match what I know how I was raised, I got tired of that, bro. I you know, I'm at a place now, and I don't brag. I give God all the credit. You know, we just closed on our home, and you know, for a lot of people, their first home is typically a starter home. You know, but you and I, like our first homes that we own, they're not starter homes. Like these are, we live in like Kevin McAllister, except we know what we do for a living. We still don't know his parents do for a living. You know, bro, and just those days, and man, I my credit was jacked up. I was going to get cars with high interest rates and stuff like that. So, you know, you figure I'd lose a job or something, they were getting repoed. And so, man, all that time, just in through all of that, I learned how to really understand interest rates. I learned how to understand the pros and cons to buying a used car to a new car. I learned the pros and cons of researching the market to understand the value of a home, the value of homes and home ownership versus renting and different type of things like that. You know, stuff that, you know, our parents definitely did try to teach me or teach us, and we just brushed it off because, like, you know, you don't know nothing, you know. So, and then I had kids. You know, I wanted to make sure that my kids knew what it meant, generational wealth. Not, I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy. You know, rich responds to folks' opinions. Wealth responds to generations. You know, so.
So how do you think there's more for you to learn, or like, or do you have a like a specific part that you're looking to learn more about, as far as with finances?
Yeah. So for me, I'm always a sponge. If I can learn something even from a J, hey, I'm gonna take that moment to learn. You know, because, and I don't use that term to be disrespectful, but there's something that he can teach me that I don't know. He probably can teach me how to be able to talk to individuals that's in a predicament like him. You get what I'm saying? So even when it comes to financial literacy, if it's something I can learn, whether it's like, I just got into stocks. I have two that I'm investing in right now, which is Carvana and Tesla. And it's climbing pretty well, so hopefully they stay like this for a little while, right? And you know, I'm learning into that. So what I've done is I've connected with people that I work with, you know, that have stocks. I always try to hang or send them out, put myself around people that know more, have more. You know, because if I'm the smartest person in the room, I'm really the dumbest. You know, I'm dumb to somebody.
Exactly.
You know?
And just even touching on stocks, because I've been kind of dabbling with it and just kind of learning, doing research, playing with it a little bit for a couple of years. I just had our little brother over here, Jeremiah, this past weekend, and we watched a live Zoom from this group called Black World Order. One of my buddies had sent me their information and stuff for me to register for their classes that they host, and it was basically just educating people on stocks, what to look to invest in. And they got a whole group that a community that they got, and they're expanding. So definitely check them out, Black World Order, BWO, and they doing some good stuff with educating people on stocks and just ways to create finances that you can be your own boss. You know, that people, now you have the option that you can quit your job if you want to, or know how they use it. I found it cool. They said for you to fire your job. It ain't you quit, you fired your job. You know what I mean? So like that's that type of mentality that they're producing for with that. So definitely you might want to check them out. So just keeping it moving. Do you know what you're aiming for as far as retirement, or do you have any type of clue? Like, if so, how did you get that mindset to understand where you want to be and where you need to be, that you're comfortable with retiring?
Bro, let me tell you. It was like a month ago. I think I shared it on Facebook. You might have laughed or something. I shared a picture of Steve Harvey. He was standing on the yacht with his shirt open.
I remember that post.
Just look at him. And you know, I really admire Steve Harvey. Like, I really look up to him. You know, from
Have you read his books?
I've read two of them. Yes.
Which one?
Well, one. I have the other one. I haven't read yet. So let me not say. I'm gonna read it.
Which one have you read?
It was the Think Like a Man.
That's cool. It was that's a good book.
I had to.
Anything is good.
Whatever. But I'm on this one right here. Keep going. This is my pastor.
Okay.
Bishop.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I'll get you a copy. It's a 30-day devotional. It's really good about how to keep going after the fall.
Can you put the book up again, just so everybody can see the title and the name of the author?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. And it comes with the workbook too. I mean, it's really good. But I was saying, when I looked at Steve Harvey, And so I realized how old, how I'll say old but young he is. I told Sharnice, I was like, that's where I want to be. I want to be able to get up at 60 years old and say, let's get on the yacht and let's go. Let's just go without having to worry about who the bills being paid. I want my money to have already made money for me. I really do. And I tell you, I don't even want to be pastoring at 60. I don't. I have no intentions on pastoring at 60. Will I preach? Yes, but pastoring, no. And I'll tell you why. Because I believe with anything, just like in football, Peyton Manning, there is a time where he's gonna have to stop playing.
Right.
And if he don't stop playing at the right time, it's gonna cost him more. And that's just like that with pastoring. If I don't stop, it can cost me a lot more, from health to losing a congregation, killing the church. We see that on a regular. And I don't want to ever be responsible for God's work failing.
Right.
And so yeah, man, I want to be very financially stable to where all my businesses have occurred, they've grown, they take care of themselves, and I'm literally just, I get a check. I wake up and check my bank app, and it's like, your payout for the month is here. That's where I want to be. I want to be able to write scholarships and pay off houses, things like that. Yeah.
Our time is coming.
Yeah.
So, with the route that you've taken, as far as being a pastor and a man of many other skills and jobs underneath your belt, was there anything that you grew a new passion for along the way?
Yeah. So I've never been interested in funerals. That's not my thing. And I'm gonna tell you, the hardest funerals for me to do is that of children. That's the hardest thing for me to do. And so in that, I've grown a deeper passion for that specifically, is helping hurting families. Of course, it's one thing to feed a family. It's one thing to give them a ride to church, but to actually take a journey and walk with them through this hurting time or hard time, it takes a lot, especially when it's your own family. That's always the hardest for me, is when I have to do one of our family members' services. It's always the hardest. But I've actually grown a deeper appreciation for life, but a deeper passion for serving people, doing, my grandmother said, me too, serving people during their hurting time. I love you, Grandma.
Okay, she gets the message. Hey, suck up, man. So what's the most challenging thing you find about being a pastor and preaching the word?
The same people I have a passion for is the same people that can sometimes be the most difficult part. It can be. It can be.
That's very true. I don't think some people even realize that, for how personable you have to be with really touching people. You know what I mean? Like, a stranger doesn't really touch people's hearts and souls or mind as much as somebody that's really getting personable and relating to you on that type of level, or telling you something that has actually caught your mind and attention that you want to hear. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's deep.
And you figure,
Um,
as a pastor, real quickly, as a pastor, like, I take their problems home with me. If especially, and not intentionally, but say for instance, I have a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins, and they call me at 9 o'clock at night, Pastor, we get a divorce. So because I know them and I have a heart for them, that's on my heart. So while I'm at home with my family, I'm trying to enjoy family time, but at the same time, I have the Jenkins on my mind. I know you saw that comment right there.
I try to keep it together.
I have the Jenkins on my mind, who's really going through a storm. You know what I'm saying? And so that's hard. Or even in moments when it's a family that I've really gone hard for, and they decide to just up and leave or speak ill against me and my family. And we've done everything we could do to be a blessing, and that takes a lot of maturity, because, not every pastor is all the way there.
Right.
Some of us, some of them, they about that life, so that's the biggest struggle sometimes as a pastor.
I got you. And so, can you just name, like, maybe a challenge that you may face being a HR recruiter, senior recruiter as well, possibly?
Most definitely. Because the way our market is set up,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to get let go of. You can be let go easily. And it cannot even be so much of your fault, but because let's just say, you know, the company does away with the department that you recruit for, and um, they don't have another department for you to go to. Or let's say that you have a specific job that the market in which you work in, like for example, let's say Atlanta's a heavy industrial area. So we have a lot of industrial places here. So forklift operators and stuff like that, warehouses, it's, you know, those are a lot of easy jobs. But let's say I come to Indianapolis and you all don't have, I don't think you all build a lot of warehouses like that. But let's just say I'm out there in that market and they want me to get forklift operators, but they're not paying a lot. So it makes it hard for me to produce numbers. Well, technically, you're not performing at your job, you know, so you
Right.
easily
I
be
see.
let go. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have any success stories on or off the job about people or that you've influenced or kind of mentored or motivated?
Yeah. So currently I have, well, I'll say two. One, she's not consistent, but I have one young guy. He hit me up on LinkedIn actually, and saw my profile and saw what I was kind of doing on Facebook and stuff. He wanted to know, like, hey man, I want to get into recruiting. You know, can you help me? And the first thing I told him, I said, do you want my help or do you want a handout? Like, because I, you know, my time is precious, and because I'm being pulled in so many different things, I don't have time to waste my time. He's like, no man, I really want to be successful. So gave him a couple different tools. Said, if you want to be successful as a recruiter, you need to go to staffing. And like I said, staffing is, if you ever, I think, have you ever worked for a staffing agency before? When you work for the
Yes.
warehouse?
Unfortunately, yes.
Right. So I mean, I have too. So that's why, unfortunately, right. So with a staffing agency, you know, you deal with such high volume, it helps you become versatile in different markets. So that's from skilled trades to professional services to healthcare recruiting. So you become versatile and you learn personalities and different keys and stuff like that to be successful. And so, you know, he's currently in staffing. I teach him how to do how to source candidates, find good candidates on various platforms. I mean, even how to recruit from Facebook or IG, you know, how to be able to do those, create ads and Boolean searches. Boolean searches is when you use specific keywords to, you know, to find a specific type of person or location or something like that. And so teach him how to do that. And man, he's doing amazing. He was an entry-level recruiter making $12.75, and now he's a couple of I think more hires away from being a full-fledged salary recruiter.
That's what's up. Thank you for what you do. Like, even if people, you know, might not have told you thank you in the times that you've done something like that, I'm saying thank you for them. Because once again, I've worked for a staffing agency, so you know, hey. But so with the community work that you do currently do, can you kind of describe that? This is when you talk to the preachers and everything. I'll list all that from what you've done in the past to what you are currently involved in, because some people, even your Georgia supporters or Indianapolis supporters I have and so forth, that maybe this is some way that they can collab with you or follow your story along after this interview.
Yeah, so my organization is Preachers for the People. If you remember, we were up there last June. I think it was up there last June, or it was the end of May. I came up there to get the cars and tags switched over and everything. In the heat of us being there, that's when Rayshard Brooks, I don't have his thing, he was killed at Wendy's. He was killed at Wendy's. That was right after our guy, and I just had a mind blank. That was killed. George Floyd was killed. So our country was in uproar. And the question people always ask, where's the church? Where's the church? Why is the church so quiet? Where's the church? Y'all want everybody money, but y'all ain't out here. And you know, Atlanta, Georgia is the capital of the civil rights movement. You know, Dr. Martin Luther King was birthed here. You know, and so as a result, I don't consider myself to be just this big time guy, because I'm far from that. But that influence I have, I went on Facebook and I said, listen, I need every pastor in the state of Georgia that has a heart for social injustice, that has a heart for Black lives. I need you to report this post. I was up there. I was in my hotel. That's when we was in Fishers. I got on a phone call. And within a matter of hours, just like Martin Luther King Abernathy, and all of them. We put a march together in literally 3 days. And June, I think it was, I can't remember what day it was. I think it was like June 7th at Sunday morning. We marched. We did a peaceful protest and prayer rally from Big Bethel, the same route that the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King had taken to the state capitol with over 300 preachers, where we held a prayer vigil, and we made it known. This on a Sunday morning. And so to leave our pulpits on a Sunday morning, that means we didn't get an offering. We didn't get nobody joined, because we didn't care about that. We wanted the protesters and those activists to know that a group of preachers, pastors, specifically young, but we had a lot of senior, high respected pastors and political figures out there that came out there and stood with us as we took this step, this leap, and this journey. And so it was definitely something, you know, to be excited about and everything like that. And so man, to this day, it has done numbers. It has, I mean, we're still very active. Sequoia Turner, the young girl that was killed at Wendy's, I actually did her funeral. Yeah. So, you know, just active, bro. So anytime something goes down, I actually got a call a week ago on a Sunday morning about something that's going on. So they want us to come down there for that. But whenever our people, or not just our people, but those individuals who are able to speak up for themselves, we speak. When they can't fight for themselves, we fight. You know, when they can't go, we go.
And you started this.
I started Preachers for the People. Yes, sir.
And you was leading the march.
I was, if I had my pictures on the wall in the hallway when you come in, but if I had it, I'll show you. But I led the march. I was in the front. Yes, sir.
And you had my nephew walking with you too.
My son was running with now Senator John Ossoff, who's been featured on all his commercials. Your nephew, my namesake, my daddy's namesake, he did.
And you got to meet Dr. Martin Luther King's family.
So Dr. Bernice King and I have met both corporately and personally. I've had the privilege to sit down with her on a couch and just talk. I've had the chance to talk with the late Malcolm X's granddaughter and Farrakhan's granddaughter, Louis Farrakhan's granddaughter.
See, I didn't even know all this stuff, man. You know,
Yeah.
that's why I had these questions wrote down, because we get busy. It's a lot of stuff that we miss out on. So like this, this is what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. So and I mean, it's just I mean, it's been so many different pastors and people I never thought from I forgot the boy's name, but he's a rapper. Keith Knight I mean, so many different people I've been able to come in contact with through all of this. And of course, I'm not that dude that I need somebody to know my name. I've never been like, but doors have opened as a result of my fight.
Okay. So with I know some projects you got to keep under wraps right now, but are there any in the near future that you can give us a little heads up about?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things we're doing right now is we're fighting the Voter Suppression Act right now in Georgia. And for those of you all who don't know, what they're trying to do, they're trying to regulate it to where they're saying there's no excuse. Yes, that's right, and go. Our daughters marched too. So the whole family was marching. But right now they're trying to suppress our votes by saying that there is no excuse for an absentee ballot. And then stating they're trying to do away with Sunday voting, in which they know it affects church people, because a lot of us that work Monday through Friday, we can't vote until Sunday. So it's pretty much we turned Georgia blue. And while let me say this, because I don't want to discourage anybody, while I'm not set to a specific party, turning Georgia blue was a good way for us to go as Georgia, for Georgia, specifically for minorities and those who were not a priority at the heart of when the state was red. And in our fight prior to this, we actually had the first Black Democrat in history from the state of Georgia to become a senator. And then John Ossoff. So now we have two Democratic senators that are that lead our state. But yeah, so that voter suppression thing, and we have a variety of things coming forth that be on social media. Everything else is kind of under wraps, for legalities until it's finalized. Because if somebody find out you coming, they're gonna try to there. So, but it's definitely, I make sure Persistent Progress has it, as well as I always keep my page updated. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, big time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so for someone that's interested in your current field for everything that you do, and once again, because you're a man of so many skills, can you kind of just give a quick breakdown of where they should start for, like, for becoming a pastor to senior HR, anything like that, for even just being a CEO or property management?
Yeah.
Can you kind of just let them know where to begin?
So I think I would say, let me say with pastoring first. Make sure you're called to do that. Pastoring is not a job; it's a calling, bro. Just like being a fireman. Some people
Mhm.
do it as just a job,
It
but
ain't meant for everybody.
it's not meant for everybody. And it's shown. Just like being a police officer is not meant for everybody. There's really a calling to that. You get what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so even with pastor, you want to make sure that you've been called to do that. The last thing you want to do is do a work illegally and with the wrong intentions, and it costs you more trying to get out than it did getting in. You
Right, right.
But for HR and recruiting, I would definitely say, you have to have a passion for people, and you have to be okay with being pushed to the limits, as well as, producing. There's no excuses in recruiting. We have numbers we have to meet, and if you want to be a successful recruiter, I would say definitely start with a staffing agency. They will give you a chance. The pay may not be great, but they will give you a chance to learn and find out exactly what type of jobs you want to recruit on. I'm fortunate enough that I can recruit a welder and I can recruit a CEO because I started off as staffing, and I'm able to do that, but that's not for everybody. Some people say, like, for example, my sister-in-law is an accountant. She may say she wants to specifically recruit accountants,
Mhm.
and she's going to be successful in that, opposed to trying to recruit forklift operators. She's like, no, no,
Right,
because that's not the
right.
cool job, so definitely want to, and always be okay with constructive criticism. Take constructive criticism from people that have evidence of building something. People who
Mhm.
have built nothing cannot give you constructive criticism. They can't, because you can't take me somewhere you've never been. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? And then when it comes to the funeral business, I would say it takes you having a genuine passion for people, not just when they're up, but when they're hurting. And then my biggest accomplishment, my biggest career, is that being a father. I personally believe, down to the city of my soul, that my success is not predicated on how well I preach. It's not predicated on how well I recruit. It's not even predicated on how well I take care of families. The reason my God has blessed me and my careers and my dreams get the traction and take flight is because of the way I take care and respond to my family, specifically my children and my wife. I believe that nobody can convince me otherwise. I really believe that, because that is my first priority, and I've been fortunate enough to have role models that showed me that a man who makes his family priority, God makes his blessings mandatory.
And this advice that you've given, this is the advice that you're giving because of your past experiences. This isn't something that you heard or seen on TV or anything like that. So I think that's the true genuine type of thing that I look to find these interviews. The people that give this advice is because they've already walked down this road. So they telling you, no, don't make that left right there. Go ahead and make that right, because I
Mm-hmm.
just made that left. Ain't no point in you hitting that pothole.
All
You
right.
know what I mean? Just go ahead and take this route. I appreciate that. There's a reason why I asked you that question
Yeah.
for the supporters and the viewers that see this currently and will see this in the future. Um, so as we're getting closer to wrapping it up, if someone wanted to further follow up with you, or to just to pick your brain, learn something from you, or ask questions that I may not have covered, is there any kind of way that they could reach out to you?
Absolutely. I'm on all social media platforms. On Instagram, you can follow me at I am William Townsend. I am underscore William M. Townsend the fourth. On Facebook, I am William M. Townsend the fourth. LinkedIn, William M. Townsend the fourth, as well as Twitter, William M. Townsend the fourth. Listen, I'm always an open book. One thing I want to pay homage to both my mother, and my father. The one thing, let me start with my father first. That my daddy, that I call him daddy, so calling him father is weird. One thing daddy taught me was, my daddy didn't have all. He doesn't have just all the education and just everything. But my daddy taught me how, even in failure, find success. If what you did failed the first time, when you start over this time, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. if you're starting over again, and I just feel led to say this. That's one thing my daddy instilled in us. Find success in failure. And I always teach my kids, if you fall and have to start over, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with experience. So when you start this time, you know what to do and what not to do. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I pay homage to him for that. And I also pay homage to my mother, because my mother she's the one that taught me to hold on to my faith. Hold on to my faith. When it gets rocky, hold on to my faith. And my grandmother, I mean, all we know is the work, because our grandmothers from your mama's side to my mama's side to our daddy's side, we've always seen, that's all we known is hustle. I
Mm-hmm.
think Grandma Connie, she done retired about 6 times since how you retire 6 times? 6 times, because that's just what we do. And so, and even in that, what are you saying, Will? Keep going. She said, who's your daddy? Even in that, keep going, keep going. But no, find success in your failure. And when you have to start over, just remember, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting over with experience.
I got you. I got you. And so, man, I just want to close out by saying thank you, thank you, thank you. I have never been on this kind of level with you, as far as for speaking this long, and just of the genuine conversation of me learning more about you, but also for the whole world to learn about you as well, because I knew how great my brother was and all that you do, but I had the ideal of it. Now, after for doing this interview, I truly know. I know the facts. I know the background, the details of it. But as well, I already had an idea for how great it was. But now I just wanted to make it that much more special that everybody else got to find out this raw and uncut, detailed version of who you are and the man that you became from where you started from to where you are now. So I really appreciate you taking your time out to come and do this interview, and just, I mean, really touch and just inspire other people's lives who watch this, because that's the purpose of what Persistent Progress Goes Career Exploring, this episode today. That is what it's for, is for anybody that's in high school, the at-risk youth, the adults, the minorities, even the privileged, for them that's looking for different ways, avenues of whether trying to understand and relate to people more, and to kind of really just get a visualize of what others go through, or different ways of connecting and networking. I mean, we've networked and we've gave shout outs to other people that didn't even have anything to do or be involved with this interview. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So that's just the type of community that Persistent Progress wants to expand on, and just keep just generating more positivity. That's the motto: persistent progress, consistently striving to become better in any way possible. So, that's just the purpose of us trying to use this platform as a GPS to help people find out which direction that they're going. So,
Yeah.
like I said again, I just want to thank you for your time, man. I love you, and I appreciate everything you're doing.
I love you too, man. Again, you my first best friend, and I stated it on Facebook earlier. I've had the privilege to speak on many platforms, in coliseums, both grand and small. But out of everyone, Dre, has been the one I am totally honored and really excited to speak on. To see both of our daddy's sons
Mm-hmm.
healthy, in a good place, married, children, children and the first child.
Yeah. Say,
Children,
hold up now. Don't get me
yeah.
killed.
But to see us both on a path, that's not leading us to jail, it's
Mm-hmm.
not leading us to an early grave, but it's actually leading us away to where we can help somebody as we grow along. Man, this means the world to me, and I'm grateful that you thought that much of me as your older brother, to give me a chance. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and this is one that I really cherish. I expect when this grows beyond capacity of Facebook Live, um, I'm honored, man. So thank you, and I love you. I believe in everything you're doing. You may have been the smartest one. You may not have been the cutest one, but you were the smartest one. You may not have been, you probably was the bigger one, but that's neither here nor there. But anything you touch, man, it turns to gold. And this is definitely something that is gold, without a price tag. It can't compare no dollar amount to be put on the value of this. And so thank you for even making persistent progress be a daily routine for my life. And man, I speak blessings over you, persistent progress, its listeners, as well as your family, man. And I genuinely love you, man. And I'm sorry for slapping you when you was little. I never told you that.
Oh, and one last thing before we go, because I'm ready to hang up on you now. Everybody that does support us and follow us, please go follow my brother's YouTube channel as well. Will, this is a moment for you. Give that shout out as well. We forgot to mention that too.
Absolutely. The Overflow Church Atlanta. Please go follow. Please go follow. We have a lot of material. We have been working and editing like crazy to just upload so much material in a matter of days. So I would love for you to be the first partaker to see what's coming. Definitely stay tuned on Facebook. Change your following status with me to top so that you can always see what's going on. We have a lot of great things unfolding, and I would love to share them with you when they do. If you're in the area or if I'm in your city, I would love to, definitely partner with you and just definitely meet you. And, you're part of the persistent family, which means you're part of my family. And so that means that, hey, we're in this thing together. So, yeah.
Definitely. And all supporters, go follow Persistent Progress LLC, or subscribe to it on YouTube. And just keep doing what you're doing, man. As you can see, we got supporters that love us, and we got to keep producing for them. So, man, good night. I'm trying to eat now. I'm hungry. I
Me
love
too.
you. Kiss all my babies.
Support y'all's cooking in the kitchen. I was like, hurry up, Dre. Hurry up for these kids come downstairs.
All right, I love you, man. Kiss all my babies for me, man. Tell my sis I said I love her too.
I will you too. I love you too, bro.
All right, later.